Think we're live. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Here we go. Welcome back. Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm Professor McCoy, and like I said tonight, we're back to the usual old side quests, although with a bit more companion-y flavor to them. We're going to be doing some more of our companion quests. There are more at this later stage now. Now that we have our various companions opening up just a little bit, there's going to be some um, what in Mass Effect 2 would have been loyalty missions. The very um, that much beloved uh, narrative mechanic that BioWare is absolutely famous for and has used in literally two games, and that's it. But no, it's anyway. That's what we're doing tonight. Is because I know there is a quest for Iron Bull soon. He hasn't dropped it yet, but maybe he will if I talk to him now. We've got a thing for Liliana. There's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be a thing for. We already did the Varric thing. I think we already did the thing for Varric. There might be another thing for a couple more of them. So we'll go through and chat with everybody and see what everyone's up to and see if there's anything more to do. And then after that, we'll do some more side quests here and there. And then next week we'll move on to doing Jaws of Hackon, the DLC. Let's see
I
if Cole's
can't
got anything else.
understand how those women in the kitchen can be awake so early after the night we had.
That's a good start. Good evening, everyone. Oh gosh.
So, how did you get the name Iron Bull?
I picked it. We don't have names under the Qun. Just, I don't know, job descriptions, I guess. When I came to Orlais, I chose the Iron Bull for myself.
But why specifically Iron Bull?
This may surprise you, but I really like hitting things. Also, it's the Iron Bull, technically. I like having an article at the front. It makes it sound like I'm not even a person, just a mindless weapon. An implement of destruction. That really works for me.
The way he phrased that, I don't quite like, just for creepiness reasons. But but I really like that. It's very interesting to me, at least, um, that in his sort of quest for personalization, because the Qun is very apersonal, it's very impersonal, it's very objectifying in that sense. You are treated as your role and nothing more. So he's going from a society like that to a at least a relatively individualistic society, a more individualistic than real medieval society, although less than ours today, somewhere of a happy medium, but certainly a more individualistic society than under the Qun. But and so he takes on a name to sort of personalize himself in a way that he wasn't really permitted to do in his homeland, in his own culture. And it's odd, maybe ironic, certainly, maybe, probably psychologically interesting, that he chooses something with the definite article and something that is sort of objectifying in the sense that he was just talking about. That he is the Iron Bull. He's more like a weapon, a force personified, rather than a person. Like, why doesn't he call himself, you know, a normal name like James or something, whatever? Why doesn't he pick a name? No, he doesn't. He picks a title for his name. It's an interesting bit of maybe it shows something like the the depth of the Kunari influence, the cultural influence on him. Really interesting. It again, it really fleshes out the Kunari in a I think quite negative light. Um, Although I'm not sure if the developers are quite intending to flesh them out in such a negative light. I think they're trying to complexify. That's not a word, is it? Whatever. Make the Kunari a bit more complex than they had been before. But here, this kind of makes it a little worse, really. Let's see what he has to say about them. Anything we
I'd
haven't
like to
asked
know
already.
more about the Kunari.
All right, hit me.
How is everyday life different for Kunari?
Depends on your job, I guess. Some are just about the same. A baker in Valroyo gets up, gets dressed, and starts work. A baker in Parvolan does the same thing. They don't care about the Empire or the Qun. Mostly they worry about breaking eggs and hope the dough rises right.
It can't be exactly the same. The Kunari have no personal freedoms.
How many personal freedoms do you figure that baker in Valroyo has? Life isn't about freedom. The baker in Parvolin wonders if she'll be given enough eggs to do her work. Will they come on time? Will the kitchen workers get her bread while it's fresh, or will they come late and blame her 'cause it's stale? Same crap in Valroyo. People are just people.
That I think that ignores the that ignores especially the difference between, roughly speaking, how the supply lines work in economics. It ignores the economic difference between, say, if we want to put it this way, the very much communistic economic model of the Qun, and the, I guess you'd say, mercantilist. It's probably something akin to mercantilist system that is in Orlais and in most of the rest of Thedas. Certainly for Reldon. The free marches seem to be a bit of a mix economically, but that's a little weird. And it does make sense for Sable, a free marcher noble, mind you, to be a bit more on the freedom bandwagon. But at the same time, then say Nord-Legion. But at the same time, like I said, it ignores that distinction of what comes from where and who has control over that and to what degree. Yes, fine, a baker who is just a sort of a laborer in a keep, in a castle in Val Royale, working for the crown, they get their supplies in, purchased by the crown, and those supplies go out, and their finished products go out as planned, ideally. And they have to, he's right, they have to worry about things like this. Are the supplies going to come in on time? Do the eggs come in? Do they come in right? Do they come in speedily, etc.? And so whether they will then be able to output properly is dependent upon that input. That said, the overseers kind of have to have some responsibility in a case like that, whereas it's not necessarily the case in a sort of communistic society where everyone's where responsibility is very much individuated, whereas actual control is more centralized. I think that there is, like I said, a significant difference there. Now, the difference gets even more significant if we're talking about a baker in Val Royale, meaning someone who runs a bakery in Val Royale. That's radically different, because then there's purchasing involved, and the kinds of questions that he asked: will there be enough eggs? Will they come in on time? Will they be of sufficient quality? That is entirely dependent upon price signals. Prices tell everyone what is valuable, at what rate, where and when, and at what quality. And so the baker can offer more money if he can afford it. And by offering that additional money, can attract more eggs more quickly of higher quality. By basically telling the egg seller that there is a greater need here for bread that I'm producing. That's basically what's going on. It is the person who wants the bread is telling the baker by demanding more with more money, and the baker is telling the egg seller, and the egg seller, or a wholesaler maybe, is telling the farmers, and the farmers are telling the other farmers who supply chicks, say, that we need more of this. And that's what prices do. We say that this is worth more. I will pay more for this. And guess what? That's how it gets to me. That's how that signal is. The term is imputed, or reverse imputed. I think it is something like that. It's a term from I believe from Ludwig Mises, who pointed out that prices are not arbitrary and they don't actually represent input costs. Prices represent they represent an inverse imputation of demand from the end buyer, the consumer, and that's how prices form. Right? Prices are signals to suppliers from sellers of how valuable their commodities are, or their services, or whatever. without those signals, then well, how many eggs do you need? Well, it depends on how much bread you need. How do you know how much bread you need? Well, somebody either just arbitrarily decides it, or somebody decides how much they want to pay for it. If it's arbitrarily decided, then we probably are going to have way too much or way too little all of the time. This is basically that at least was Hayek's knowledge problem, the main critique of command economies, communism in particular. That turned out well. I made a matcha latte. I got matcha, and again, I haven't had some in a while, but I don't usually have hot ones. I usually do like the frozen blended kind of things, but hot complements the beer well. So turned out well. Anyway, what else do you got? Yeah. Well, let's see. This is gonna give us this is bound to give us more to talk about, I'm sure.
I've heard there's no marriage among the Kunari.
Yeah, that's true. Kunari love our friends like anyone does, but we don't have sex with them.
Kunari don't have sex?
Oh, we definitely have sex. They're Tamasrans who pop your cork whenever you need it.
Need. Yeah, okay. Okay, Coomer.
Seriously?
Yes. It's not a big deal like it is here. It's like, I don't know, going to see a healer. Sometimes it's this long, involved thing. It takes all day, leaves you walking funny. Other times you're in and out in 5 minutes. Thank you. See you next week.
Sometimes I think I understand how different the Kunari are. And then I talk to you.
Yep. Still, it's more fun here. Fewer rituals, more making it up as you go along. Plus, you folk have redheads. Redheads.
Okay. Where do babies come from? Like, I don't know if that's ever actually explained in the Kunari. Do they have like a eugenic system? I know they control. He talked about some kind of control of breeding last time, or two, whatever, however many streams ago that was. But that's weird. Like, again, it seems like like some other dysfunctional societies that I know of, it seems like the Kunari fundamentally disconnect sex from procreation in a really significant, and I would say dangerous and disturbing sort of way.
See you later, Bull.
Nice talking with you, boss.
Yeah, that's very weird. It's especially weird for a medieval or even Renaissance society. Because, I mean, technologically speaking, most of this world is much closer to the Renaissance than the Middle Ages proper. That's probably culturally as well, but again, that largely depends on where you are and what your expectations are. All right, let's go check this out. We are going with Liliana to a chantry that where a message was left to her from the dead divine Justinia, who died at the beginning of the game. Oh wait, we actually bring companions for this? Let's bring Cassandra and who else? Bring Varric. Yeah, that'll do. Sure. Oops, disappeared for a second. Sorry about that. Beautiful.
It's just as I remember it.
It is a little odd as a place of worship. There isn't a place for the congregation, really. But it's certainly an incredible shrine.
You
What a
didn't
shrine.
tell me you'd been here before. After the Blight ended, I came here to see Justinia. She was just Dorothea then, a revered mother. I didn't expect it to be so... deserted. It makes me uneasy. It's a small village, and it's too early for the chant. I'm sure the sisters are somewhere.
Liliana, is that you?
Sister Natalie, what are you doing here? I thought you were in Val Rayo.
No, I've been here since Justinia died. This place makes me feel like she's still with us.
Inquisitor, this is Natalie, a trusted friend.
Wait, Inquisitor? You brought the Inquisitor here? My lady, forgive me for not recognizing you earlier.
Really? Those are my only options? There's no "you're forgiven, sister," or anything that's actually appropriate to the role? Maybe I'd rather not be recognized. I don't know if that's going to come off all angsty, though. Because demanding penance for not recognizing the Inquisitor is silly, given that this is a world where visual recognition is basically impossible. Like, I mean, we joke a lot. We, meaning people, me and people I talk to, I guess, joke a lot about medieval piety with respect to the Pope and the hierarchy, where you will almost certainly never know who the Pope is. Certainly would not recognize his face, especially if he walked in wearing armor. Like, no way. Or if he walked in wearing, I guess that's armor, whatever this is, a scout uniform. No, there's no way you would recognize the Pope in a medieval society without telecommunication. Now the only reason we even know who the Pope is because we have instantaneous visual communication across the world. Before the 20th century, that would have been impossible, and before the, 14th, 15th century, you probably wouldn't have even known. Maybe even 16th, really. Before networks of trade really opened up with sea travel, you probably wouldn't have gotten news from other countries, even very important news, for many years. Because why would you? Unless you're in a metropolis, and those were very rare. There's no way. You're in a small town up here on the coast, coast I guess, but if you're in a small town like this, you might not have even heard of the Inquisition, let alone know visually what the Inquisitor is supposed to look like. I'm gonna go with this. I hope this isn't an angsty response. So it shouldn't be. This is completely understandable and forgivable.
I wish more people would fail to recognize me.
Not what I want. Fine.
I see.
Natalie, listen. There is something hidden here. Something Justinia left for me.
Oh, really? What is it?
I don't know, but we'll find it. I'm curious to see what brought us all here. Justinia's letter came with instructions for me. They were a little cryptic. Always remember that faith sprung from a barren branch. That light has no fear of darkness. Above all, that strength lives in an open heart.
She must be hinting at something in here. Let's look around.
The faith
Do they
sprung
still
from a
sing
barren
verses
branch.
from the benedictions every Friday? That canticle was Justinia's favorite.
Yes, of course. We'd never give up the traditions of our most beloved divine.
That is lovely to hear. I stare up at the breach
She does
sometimes.
not trust.
It's terrifying, but beautiful in its way.
It is beautiful.
Have you seen it by sunrise?
When the sun rises through it, it splits into what looks like 1,000 suns, like a broken mirror.
Yes, spectacular, isn't it? You must be careful, Natalie. Justinia's enemies are making their move, vying for position and the Sunburst throne.
She is testing Natalie, and Natalie is failing hard. Anyway, what I was saying is the faith springing from a barren branch reminds me of how we first met Liliana in in Origins, when she had the vision from the Maker. I forget exactly what it was, but it was something about a rose bush, a barren rose bush with, as we see right here, with a single rose blooming on it, that she took as a sign.
I was in the cloister in Lothering when the
Oh, here we
riot
go.
began. There was a lot of fear back then. No one knew what was going to happen, whether we would live or die. And then one morning, I found a single bloom on a dead rose bush. And I thought, even in the midst of all this, life finds a way. The Maker hasn't abandoned us.
I think that's a little bit heretical, but because canonically, like, the Maker has abandoned his people. But it's beautiful nonetheless. And yeah, she took it as a sign of basically of communication directly from the Maker, compared with a dream, if I remember correctly. Above all, that strength lies in an open heart. Light has no fear of darkness. Lies in an open heart. Maybe both in there. Here, I suppose. What's this? Open heart, huh? Mafarath. I think that's Mafarath betraying Andraste. At least I think. Okay. Light has no fear of darkness.
Well, that one's quite literal. And morbid. But Justinia always said that compassion was my greatest strength.
Don't
Doubt
lose that,
is
Liliana.
easy. It takes courage to trust.
Light has no fear of darkness, huh? Not this. Who is that? It's more iconography I don't quite recognize. Was it the center? Oh, it's the braziers. Is it the braziers? It is. It's the braziers. That's weird. Okay. A bit on the nose.
What was that? Looks like we opened something.
There. Oh. The triptych. Oh, neat. Andraste's light being burnt, shining down on the Tevinter Magisters. And who's the one with the snake? I'm trying to think of exactly what iconography that is. The armored figure with bearing a sword and a snake. It's not Mafarath, is it? Which, by the way, I love this triptych. Oh, well done. Well put together. Oh.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Finally. I was getting tired of all these tricks.
They never sing the benedictions here on Fridays, Natalie. Something so simple. And you got it so wrong. I wanted to believe, but you were lying from the start. Keep that pretty mouth shut if you must, dear. You've already told me everything I need to know. The prickle-weird burrs on your hem, talking about the sun rising through the breach. It all points to a single place. Morel in the Dells, Grand Cleric Victoire's bastion. She sent you, didn't she? Victoire was always an opportunist.
Who is this Grand Cleric? I've never heard of her.
An experienced cleric. She never agreed with Justinia, but kept her ideas to herself. I suppose now, with Justinia dead, she thought she could make her move.
I want to know what this Grand Cleric planned here.
She sent Natalie here to see what Justinia was hiding, no?
The Inquisition has turned Thedas away from the true chantry. It must be stopped.
Stop us? You must be joking.
Mother Victoire is well loved by many. The Inquisition has more enemies than you know.
And Victoire thinks she can ally with them.
This is that, this cutthroat, literally, chantry politics that's a bit of a problem, and it's also why Liliana should definitely not be divine.
We don't have to be at odds, Natalie.
It would just
You
exacerbate
could
this.
come with us. Join the Inquisition.
I was called to serve the Grand Cleric. I will not betray her. Kill me then. I am not afraid to die for my beliefs. At least I still know what I believe.
We don't have to kill her.
No. I must protect the Inquisition. She is an enemy.
I see what you've become. The righteous stand before the darkness, and the Maker shall guide them.
Oh!
No! This can't be it. There's nothing here.
It's not what you expected. That doesn't mean it's nothing.
There's a message carved in the lid. The left hand should lay down her burden. She's releasing me. The divine has a long reach, but it is always her left hand that stretches out. 1,000 lies, 1,000 deaths. Her commands, but my conscience that bore the consequences.
She apologized in the Fade. She said she failed you. This is what she meant.
All this time, Justinia carried the fear that she was using me, just like I'd been used in the past. But Marjolaine's games were trifles. Justinia gambled with the fate of nations. She needed me. No one else could have done what I did. She knows that.
If I remember correctly, these we talk about here will significantly shape Liliana's character moving forward, and I'm assuming, that that'll make a big difference for Dragon Age 4. For the Dreadwolf. Dragon Age is the Dreadwolf. Honestly, one other thing, I was totally expecting they would go for another number and just call it Dragon Age 4. So they could go with alternating between name number, but yeah, well, it's fine. But yeah, this is I think this was a very honorable thing for Divine Justinia to do. She knew that she was having Liliana do things that were morally compromising, or at least having her do things, and she was doing them in a morally compromising way, and that even if she thought it necessary, that it would be all the more necessary to ensure that Liliana doesn't continue that life of her own accord, because if it is in service to something greater, if it's also, especially if it is done out of a sense of obedience and out of a genuinely pious sense of obedience, that's a very different mode of behavior than specifically going to try to do nasty and underhanded things oneself willingly. Oh, random question. What was my hex bard build? Good question. So far it's just it's 1 level warlock, it goes bard, warlock, bard. It's only level 3. The character's only level 3. But I think probably the most reasonable build for it is just 1 level of Hexblade Warlock and the rest Bard, so you don't lose out on Bard spell progression. You can make an argument for 2 levels of Warlock for invocations and a second first level spell slot, and you can even make an argument for a 3rd level of Warlock for 2nd level spells and for your pact boon, Pact of the Blade. Probably not going to go 3, might go 2 at some point, I think that if you do... by the way, if anyone listening to this, Hexbard is a cross-class build in D&D 5th edition between very few levels of Hexblade Warlock, so you can attack with melee weapons using your Charisma bonus, with Bard for Bard spellcasting, College of Swords for like blade flourishes and things. Basically, you're doing a very very high AC melee melee Gish character. Gish meaning combination of spell and sword, more or less. And it's somewhere close to on par, if not surpassing, Bladesinger as a Gish. So yeah, definitely College of Swords. 1, maybe 2 levels of Hexblade Warlock, and the rest Bard. As far as the second level of Hexblade Warlock, if I were to do this, I would probably do that at a later level so that I can fulfill the prerequisites for better invocations. I haven't looked at specifically which ones, but probably things like Thirsting Blade for second attack. Although that actually might require Pact of the Blade. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But the higher level invocations that are just flat out better. If I were to take a second Blade of Hexblade Warlock, it would be much later on in the build. Anyway, it's a great build, and I'm very much looking forward to trying it. So neat. Anyway, yeah, we need to get Liliana to move forward, charting her own path in the light of the Maker, rather than in the shadow of Justinia.
Then you have to
That's
let
poetic.
it go.
I like that.
Let her go. You don't owe her anything anymore.
This? Now? After everything you've said and done?
Mm-hmm.
And my poor dear Natalie. I called her sister once, but I couldn't risk leaving her alive. Don't tell me to let it all go after all I've sacrificed to get here.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't.
Justinia tried to save me, but all it's done is made me realize I don't need saving. There is work to be done. I'll see you back at Skyhold.
Well, that didn't make much progress with her world development, let's say. I don't actually need that, but that's nice. And she, of course, had a poison dagger on her. Yeah, I'm guessing that it'll probably... There's a good chance that it'll nuke the stream. Or at least cause all sorts of nasty jitters. Go talk to Liliana. Maybe could try it? I don't know. Keep an eye on the stream and just make sure it doesn't freak out. Go see Liliana again. Yeah, I don't actually know when we're supposed to get the that next major quest from Iron Bull. Hi, birds. I don't actually remember. I'm not sure. I'll
Grand Cleric Vitois is scrambling after the loss of her agent.
Good. Her support base is in Morale. Tear it down.
Ooh. Jeez, Liliana. Really?
Grand Cleric Victoire wishes to make an enemy of the Inquisition. I'll give her what she wants. Doesn't Victoire have a young cousin? Lord Firmin? She dotes on him.
Yes, mistress. I believe that is so.
Good. Have him collected. He shall be an honored guest, and make sure the Grand Cleric hears about it.
At your command.
That's very Orlesian. Or French.
You're dealing with the Grand Cleric a little harshly, don't you think?
Harsh times call for harsh measures, Inquisitor. You see, when I'm ruthless, it gets us where we need to be. It's something to be proud of. Why fix it? How funny that her regret is what finally puts my own to rest. I chose to become her left hand, knowing what it meant. It was my weakness that stopped me from fully committing to my task.
You have a good heart. It's not a weakness.
You're too kind, Inquisitor. Call it what it is. The Inquisition needs me just as the Divine did, to do what no one else dares. Death and deception are my trade. It is what I am. It is what I always will be.
Well, that's not good. I have never hardened Liliana, which is the term. The very Dragon Age term. So if you recall in Origins, when you can decide a major change in Alistair's personality, depending on how he reacts to his sister rejecting him, basically. You can either harden or soften him personality-wise. And I think we softened him, if I remember correctly, by getting him to be more sympathetic about it, rather than dismissing her. This is another instance of that same sort of a mechanic, and I think we accidentally just hardened Liliana, and I did not intend to. And also, I've never seen that before. I don't think. I played through this game 3-4 times. Never done this before. Oh.
I do not like having that mirror, Illuvian, in Skyhold. Corypheus may not be able to travel through it, but what if something else can?
I definitely respect that.
What if it's something good?
Morrigan claims that if I close my eyes and wish hard enough, a fleet of griffins will appear under my command.
See? That's probably not true. But it would be fun.
Well, yes, but that wasn't my point. I'll stop worrying about it. So long as someone's watching it, even if that someone is Morrigan.
That is such a Sable answer. That's all.
That's all for now.
Should you require anything, I'll be here.
Okay, let's see if Blackwall has anything. We haven't talked to him lately. Too lately. Bump.
Perhaps it's a good thing I'm not a real warden.
It's a blessing. Warden or not, I'd hate to be on the other side of your blade.
Going up against a darkspawn, and the last thing you want is a Grey Warden. Funny how these things happen.
Yeah. Alright.
Nothing right now. Perhaps in a bit.
Nothing new. Hey.
Greetings, Your Worship.
Okay. Well, in that case, we should probably move on. See what else there is to do in various places. Westwise.
Will you be coming to the readings? After what happened, I just assumed.
After the destruction of a holy place?
No. The triumph of holy action. Isn't it grand?
No. No, it isn't.
What now? Those are both elves talking about, I guess, the destruction of the Temple of Mythal. Interesting.
Just handed some intelligence to the spy master.
Good. Welcome. Fairbanks? Oh, what's over here? Something going on?
Wardens harm their own and fall to mortal failings. Where does that leave us? Of course you handle this, Inquisitor.
Oh, you know.
What's going on?
Long day.
Oh, it's the Iron Bowl thing. Who'd have thought?
Ah, come on, Krim. I'm working my ass off trying to get you to see that move.
You still got plenty of arse left, Chief. Your Worship.
Glad you came by. I got a letter from my contacts in the Ben Hasrath. Already verified it with Red.
Do you want to discuss this alone?
Not like I was hiding it from my boys. Besides, right now, I need to hit something.
You know they've got training dummies, Chief.
The training dummy might actually defend itself against the shield bash. Anyway, the Ben Hasrath letter.
What did the letter say?
The Ben Hasrath have been reading my reports. They don't like Corypheus or his Venatori. And they really don't like Red Lyrium. They're ready to work with us.
Understandable.
With you, boss. The Qunari and the Inquisition joining forces.
I definitely don't trust them.
That would be an unprecedented offer if I believed it was legitimate, which I don't.
Now, ordinarily that would be the way to go, but they've identified themselves. They're not running a game on you. They found a massive Red Lyrium shipping operation out on the coast.
They wanted us to hit it together. Talked about bringing in one of their dreadnoughts. Always wanted to see one of those big warships in action.
Did you see that? Go get some water. They're worried about tipping the smugglers, so no army. My chargers, you, maybe some backup.
What does this alliance really get us?
They wouldn't use the word alliance if they didn't mean it. Naval power. More Ben Hasrath reports. Qunari soldiers pointed at the Venatori. It could do a lot of good.
Naval power is actually quite impressive. They basically have Ironside steamships. Steamships, or they might be basically rowboats, rowing ships, like ore ships. But they're iron-sided, and they have cannons, like gunpowder cannons, which is really impressive given the technological development of the rest of the world, which is distinctly medieval, especially in terms of naval combat. That's definitely something.
You don't seem entirely happy about this.
No, I'm good. It's... I'm used to them being over there. It's been a while.
I thought the Qunari wanted to extend their reach to the whole world.
Yeah. Just didn't think I'd see it. Look, the Qun answers a lot of questions. It's a good life for a lot of people. But it's a big change. And a lot of folks here wouldn't do so well under that kind of life. I guess it's not like we're converting. This is just us joining forces against Corypheus. On that front, I think we're good.
Alright, let's give it a shot.
I think the Inquisition could use some help from the Qunari.
I don't trust them at all,
Good.
but we'll see.
I'll pass on word to Cullen and Red. We can set up the meeting whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I 100% don't trust the Qunari, but let's see. You can do, Cassandra?
Victory in the Arbor Wilds. The Archdemon might have been a real threat to our army, but it flew off once we turned the tide. It is still out there, however. I wonder what Corypheus plans now.
He'll hide. What other choice does he have?
Do not underestimate Corypheus. He is powerful, and you have yet to fight him one-on-one. But he will come. You will get your chance.
It wouldn't be any fun if all this was over so soon.
Corypheus believes himself a god. Pride alone demands he not slink off into the shadows. I have faith you will be victorious even so. Not long ago, this was impossible to imagine. You, a valued friend, victory close at hand. The time has come to consider what will come next.
You'll be the next divine, I assume.
That has not happened yet.
But it may.
If the Maker wills it, then yes, I will answer his call. Blessed are they who stand before the corrupt and the wicked, and do not falter. You have come far, my friend. It has been an honor.
Yeah, of all the options, I think that she's absolutely the best choice for Divine. Absolutely. Let's see. Anything else? I think we've talked to just about everybody else. Let's go, as the quest marker says, to the Storm Coast. with the Iron Bull to the Hessarian camp with the Iron Bull and Blackwall and Dorian. Yeah, sounds good. We need an actual tank if we're bringing Iron Bull. They also haven't been spending too much time together. This trio, not very much at all, really. Hadron Tig. That doesn't look like a dwarven image on that card. Not really at all. Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, he
Now
has really cool
Kunori
armor. I
contact
forgot.
should be here to meet us.
That's awesome.
He is. Good to see you again, Hisrad.
Gat! Last I heard, you were still in Saharan.
They finally decided I'd calmed down enough to go back into the world.
Boss, this is Gat. We work together in Saharan.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Inquisitor. Hisrad's reports say you're doing good work.
I assume that Gat is a nickname, and I am also assuming that it refers to Gatlock, their blast powder. Basically, he's probably an explosives guy.
Iron Bull's name is Hisrad.
Under the Qun, we use titles, not names.
My title was Hisrad, because I was assigned to secret work. You can translate it as Keeper of Illusions, or...
Liar. It means liar.
Well, you don't have to say it like that.
I'm only here because we both want to stop Corypheus.
Indeed. The Tevinter Imperium is bad enough without the interference of this Venatori cult.
Yes. Filthy, decadent brutes, the lot of them. I'm certain life would be much better for all of us under the Qun.
It was for me, after the Qunari rescued me from slavery in Tevinter. I was 8. The Qun isn't perfect, but it gave me a better life.
Yes, one free from all that pointless free will and independent thought. Such an improvement.
I mean, Dorian's 100% right, but also, the Tevinters aren't exactly guilt-free here. I mean, the Tevinters do hold slaves. And if Gat here was a slave and was freed from slavery to join the Qun, that's not much of an improvement in terms of freedom, but I guess it's something. It also points to the fact that something we learned in Dragon Age 2, that the Qunari target elves, especially city elves, for converts, which is a very common tactic among cult-like revolutionary groups and also among communists. They target the discriminated against underclasses to foment a kind of revolution in their homelands and spread this poisonous ideology, which is, again, we see it in real life and we see it by the Qun with the Qunari. We see it right here. We see it right here with Gat. We saw it in Dragon Age 2. We are probably going to see a hell of a lot of it in the Dread Wolf in the next game. We'll see. But I do think that, yeah, Dorian's right, but at the same time, let's yell at each other later. And hope there's a chance to.
Arguing about the war between your two nations isn't going to help anyone right now.
I'm not here to convert anyone. All I care about is stopping this red lyrium from reaching Minrathos.
With this stuff, the Vince could make their slaves into an army of magical freaks. We could lose Saharan and see a giant Tevinter army come marching back down here.
I'd love to
Ben
see them
has
lose
traffic,
Saharan,
Ray.
but...
That's why we're here. Our dreadnought is safely out of view and out of range of any Venatori mages on shore. We'll need to eliminate the Venatori, then signal the dreadnought so it can come in and take out the smuggler ship.
What do you think, Bull?
Don't know. I've never liked covering a dreadnought run. Too many ways for crap to go wrong. If our scouts underestimate enemy numbers, we're dead. If we can't lock down the Venatori mages, the ship is dead. It's risky.
Riskier than letting red lyrium into Minrathos?
Fair point. Follow up. I'm just reminded that I just watched. I've been rewatching Star Wars Rebels, I just watched last night, the episode where Kanan dies in season 4, which is, I mean, that's one of those where, yeah, okay, fine. It starts off as very much a kid's show, but it grows up with its audience pretty extremely. Like, that scene is not a scene for young kids. That whole episode is not one for young kids. It is a well made, well developed relationship and the consequences thereof that we see established there in that arc, in the major arc of retaking Lethal in season 4. It's really good. And I was just reminded by I can never remember his name. Same voice actor though. Of him sounding worried. Anyway.
There might be Venatori mages on the ship as well, if the Dreadnought can't handle them.
It's unlikely there'll be more than 2 or 3 mages on the ship, and they'll be dead by the 3rd shot. On land, though, a half-dozen Venatori attacking the Dreadnought from cover could do some serious damage.
Okay.
If it's dangerous for the Dreadnought close to shore, why not attack when the smugglers reach open water?
Any decent smuggling ship can outrun a Dreadnought on open water. We need to catch them close to shore.
I could have crushed any Venatori resistance with the Inquisition's main forces. Why not use them?
Because then the Venatori would have seen you coming and run. They'd schedule a new shipment for later, and our spies might not know when or where. This is risky, yes, but it's our best chance to destroy the shipping operation permanently.
Also, I'm reminded that some of the stuff we've seen from the Rings of Power, the new Amazon Lord of the Rings show, from that trailer recently, and man, I think they're leaning, I think, very hard into non-Tolkien high fantasy concept art and aesthetics for elves. So most of them, especially the men, have short hair. The clothing choice is not nearly as ethereal as we ever saw. And the ears are much longer, significantly pointed rather than coming to a bit of a point, like the elves in like in Peter Jackson trilogy. And I don't like the aesthetic change. It's a kind of weird feedback loop where where we're getting now all of these fantasy properties, Dragon Age included, is inspired by Tolkien very clearly. But then they wind up in turn inspiring a weird offshoot Tolkien-esque thing that is barely inspired by Tolkien. It's not. It's more like it's inspired by these other fantasy series that have spawned off. So it feels in a weird way derivative, but in a weird circular manner. It's eating its own tail. I'm expecting it to be atrociously bad. I'm not going to watch it until I hear positive reviews from a lot of people I trust. Let me put it that way. I may, if there are people genuinely who want to hear my thoughts on the matter, I may watch it at some point. Probably all together, probably all at once, so I can put it all together and take notes on it to actually review and consider if there are topics worth discussing in it. Not even a review. I'm not a media reviewer. It's not my thing. But if there are specific things in it that I should address, and there are people who think I should, I can do that. But I honestly, all other things equal, I'd rather not watch it as from what we're seeing now. So let's go.
Let's go hold up our end of this bargain then.
My agent suggested 2 possible locations the Venatori may be camped to guard the shore. There and there.
There and
We
there.
need to split up and hit both at once.
I'll come with you, boss. Krem can lead the charges. Let me fill him in. Come by when you're ready to move.
All right. So Dorian, what about all that? You okay?
Just waiting on you and his Rado. Iron Bull, I guess.
It's the Iron Bull.
You knew Iron Bull back when he fought in Saharon?
Yes, he led the group that freed me. I was a Magister's slave, and when the Magister went to Saharon, he brought me along. For company. Iron Bull and his men attacked my master's ship and killed him, as well as his soldiers. Bull set me free.
And you decided to start following the Kyun after that?
What do you think? I just watched a giant horned warrior kill the Magister who hurt me.
He never told me about this.
One of the few things he hasn't shared with you, I gather. Sure, Bull. Share the secret Ben Hasrath reports, but keep that bit where you save the elf boy to yourself.
Is Bull going to get in trouble for passing those reports on?
The Ben Hasrath aren't pleased with how forthcoming Bull has been, but he was one of their best agents. He kept the streets clean in Saharon longer than anyone before him or after. He fought until it nearly killed him. The Ben Hasrath trust him enough to accept how he joined the Inquisition, even if they don't like it. Besides, they hate to discard a tool that might still have some use left in it. That's why I have a job.
It sounds like following the Kyun hasn't always been easy.
I had a temper. Bull's nickname for me, Gat, comes from Gatlock, the
Aha!
explosive power in
I knew it.
Canary cannons. I was so angry when I was first freed. I wanted revenge. I wanted to find my family who was still enslaved in Minrathos. I thought about leaving when the Kyun didn't tell me what I wanted to hear, but I didn't.
Maybe you should
Why
have.
not?
The Canary were always ready to listen, to teach. They cared for me as much as one of their own. And if I leave, the parts of the Kyun that I don't like are never going to change.
I see. He's one of those change it from the inside people. Which is a nice thing to tell yourself when you've joined a massive evil organization. Don't worry, how will we ever change it if we aren't in part of it? I'm reminded of well, I'll use an example I'm familiar with, my own struggles with higher education. The academy in its current state is not what it should be or once was. University system is a shadow, pale, almost twisted imitation of what it has been, what it ought to be. And there are great problems with higher education around the world, in the West, and I would say probably especially in the US, but not exclusively. And I'm swayed partially by this kind of reasoning, that I have to be one of the good ones, right? I have to do what I must. I have to do what I can from within that system of academia. But at the same time, I know what it ought to be and should be. And I think that is more my emphasis, and what keeps me there, keeps me in academia, is I love what it essentially is and what it ultimately ought to be, regardless of whether it doesn't, given that it doesn't measure up to those standards today, and that the parts that don't measure up to those standards are endlessly frustrating. But I am there for the good parts. Therefore, because I'm a great admirer of classical academia, and I have been for a very long time. Even before I, joined the academy, so to speak, back when I was an undergrad, before I did any of the grad school stuff or anything like that, started teaching, etc. I greatly admired the university as such. Even probably really just going back to high school, really. But now recognize the problems. Recognizing the problems from within, I also recognize that by being part of academia, I'm not going to be leading the charge to make any big systematic changes. But I can do some good while I'm there teaching. I'm there as part of the institution. I don't expect myself to. I don't expect myself to be any large part of changing the structure of the institutions. Maybe, who knows? But I'm not going to be the causal factor in anything like that. Can't be. It's not how institutions generally work. Without a massive, well-planned movement, like we saw with the long march through the institutions of the Marxist progressive left of the 20th century. So no, changing it from the inside, like Gat kind of wants to do here, is utterly hopeless. What you can do, something that is more admirable, is doing good for people within that institutional structure, because that is a structure which gives you the opportunity to do so, which is a lot more like what the Iron Bull is doing. So yeah, I think that excuse is incredibly naive. And also incredibly prideful, to think that you would be able to implement such changes, whether single-handedly or starting a process or participating in a process, regardless of what degree you expect to be part of such a process. It's still incredibly hubristic to think that by staying in this evil institution, I will be able to change it. No, almost certainly not. To achieve the sort of power that you need to influence institutions, especially corrupt institutions, to that degree, there is a lot of evil that you need to commit. You will corrupt yourself far before you purge the corruption of any kind of a system joining like that. So, anyway. Yeah, let's talk about the Qun. Speaking of evil organizations.
Do you have a minute to talk about the Qun?
I'm a spy, Inquisitor, not a teacher. I'm not interested in converting anyone or debating the philosophy. But I suppose it would make for an interesting report to hear the Inquisitor's opinion of the Qun.
Tell them that the Inquisitor thinks the Qun is loathsome and disgusting.
You must really want our ships then. I understand your viewpoint for what it's worth. Out in this world, the Qun sounds terrible. As a way of life, the simplicity, the fairness of it is something I cherish. The lack of identity, though, I've struggled with it myself.
Wonder why.
No one's actually detailed how an alliance with the Qunari will help the Inquisition.
The answer to that is above my rank. But the Qunari don't really bargain. They don't know how. I doubt you want Qunari troops stomping around your stronghold, and you're too far away for supplies to be useful. You'd get more use out of our ships, I imagine, and the agents we've got spread across Theodos. We know a lot more than what Bull sees in those reports he's been forwarding to your spy master.
How did an elf end up working for the Qunari out here?
The Ben Hasrath usually pick elves or humans to work outside of Kunandar. We're a little harder to spot. I've worked in Orlais and Navarra, but only for a few years now.
What did you do before that?
When I was old enough, I fought Tevinter forces in Saharon. I was too angry to do much else. It took me a long time to accept the Qun, to get past justice to purpose. Some days are still difficult.
Getting past justice to purpose. Sounds like... Oh, that sounds very bad. To take the closest comparison that isn't morally heinous to the Qun would be to look at Plato's Republic in a really wooden political sort of way. I've talked about this before. I have videos on it. I'll link the playlist in the description. But that I think that, like I said, that'd probably be the closest comparison we can look to that isn't obviously morally heinous. And it's notable that Plato's foremost concern in the entire Republic, the entire dialogue, is justice. It's not purpose. It's not even fulfilling one's function or one's ergon, even though that is a major purpose, a major part of the book, and a part of the dialogue, and part of what he's trying to figure out. But he's always considering the people's purpose or their end, their function, their ergon within the city in the context of justice, of the justice of the city. So justice is always and necessarily the ultimate end goal here. And he means it in two senses. One of justice meaning the right thing to do, or morality, which is also why some translators render justice, render it as morality. Who is it? I have one of them. Hold on. I think. Maybe? Jowett. That's it. Benjamin Jowett. This one. Common enough translation. He renders, if I remember correctly, he renders justice. Instead of saying justice, he uses morality. Oh, it's not Jowett. No, I just happened through. No, he uses justice. Who is it? I can't think of who. I can't think of which one. But there's a well-known translation that doesn't use the word justice. It uses the word morality, which is a little bit of a misnomer in some cases, because justice in the Republic there are two senses to it. The one is overall morality, the right thing to do, righteousness, you might say. But the other is the particular virtue of justice, which is a proper alignment of oneself to one's social position. It's paying what's owed, right? But what's owed is dependent upon one's relationships and one's society and one's obligations in a social sense, but also in a personal sense, all of that together. And so it is playing one's part in society is a part of justice. But it's that narrower part, right? Not this overall part. The overall part is embodied in all of the virtues, and the four cardinal virtues, and even the sort of sub-virtues as well. So playing one's part in society, what he's talking about in terms of purpose, the part of the Republic that is, I think, most comparable to the Qun is, well, that and the whole, like, keeping wives in common thing. Don't worry about it. The whole thing's an allegory. It's all an allegory for the mind. It's not actually about the city, but whatever. It's not actually about politics. Regardless, I've talked about this before. Regardless, though, it is this focus on purpose at the over and above justice, which is alien to Plato's thought. It's the part where the Qun departs from Platonism, and it's also worth noting where Marx departs from Plato. Plato was a major influence on Marx. He was a major influence to most German philosophers in the 19th, 20th centuries. But the dispensation of the virtue of justice as being primary is a huge parting of weight.
I'll let you know when we're ready.
I await your pleasure, Inquisitor.
It's the same with Heidegger, for that matter. Heidegger's also one of those 20th century German philosophers who is basically a Neoplatonist.
It's safe to come in.
Understood, Chief.
Remember, you're gonna want a volley to start, but don't get suckered into fighting at range. They've got mages.
It's all right. We've got a mage of our own.
I'm not a mage.
Getting close and take their enchanter down before he takes over the battlefield.
He'll be dead before he knows it.
Just pay attention, all right? The Vince want this red lyrium shipment bad.
Yes, I know. Thanks, Mother.
Kunari don't have mothers, remember?
We'll be fine, Chief.
All right, Chargers. Horns up!
Horns up!
Ready whenever you are, boss.
All right, let's do it.
I'm ready to head out, Bull.
Right. Chargers, hit 'em hard and hit 'em fast. When this is over, drinks are on me.
You got it, Chief. Charges, double time. Let's move!
You gave your charges the easier target.
You think?
Lower and farther from the smuggler's ship, it's much less likely to be heavily defended.
Suppose we'll do the heavy lifting then.
Let me see. Right? Yeah?
Just like old times.
I assume I'm going the right way. Let's see. I don't actually know.
Be careful. My agent said to expect opposition ahead of the main camp.
We've all done this a few times, Gat.
You've been living outside the Qun for years now, Iron Bull. Just wanted to make sure your reflexes hadn't gotten as soft as the rest of you.
Ouch.
You must wish you were back
easy.
to Vintermage. No soldiers to guard you here, no slaves to wait on you.
It's the lack of fashion that really strikes fear into my heart.
You know nothing of fear.
And do you intend to teach me?
No. You serve the Inquisition, and the Ben Hasrath wish an alliance. For now, that is enough.
Yeah, Dorian is at least comparably in the right there. Ow. Oh. Dude, Iron Bull with his, like, shatter the ground around him thing is terrifying. There we go.
Dorian, I would prefer if you stopped referring to me as that hairy lummox.
When did I do that?
The tavern, the smithy, the servants. You said it to the gate guards as we left Skyhold.
That does sound like me.
Dreadhelm. Oh, it's for Iron Bull. Yes, I will equip that. That's gonna look cool. Of course, he's never gonna wear it, because I have helmets off. I have helmets off, but whatever. Still cool. Oh. Under one hit. That's probably, yeah, that's better. Cool. Yeah, I have helmets off. Because most of the helmets are not actually, don't look very good. Ooh, this. That's spooky and Tiventer-like. You're strange. Alright, let's do it.
We're clear, Gat.
Right. Signaling the Dreadnought.
Chargers already sent theirs up. See them down there?
I knew you gave them the easier job.
There's the Dreadnought.
I wish we
That
get a better
brings
look at
back
this thing.
memories. Nice one. Crap.
There are quite a few of them.
Yeah,
Your men need to hold that position, Bull.
they do that. They're dead.
And if they don't, the Venatori retake it and the Dreadnought is dead. You'd be throwing away an alliance between the Inquisition and the Canary. You'd be declaring yourself Talvashoth. With all you've given the Inquisition, half the Ben Hasrath think you've betrayed us already. I stood up for you, Hisrad. I told them you would never become Talvashoth.
They're my men.
I know, but you need to do what's right, Hisrad. For this alliance, and for the Qun.
It's kind of ironic that this guy who so desperately wants to be an individual, wants to be a real person, and not just a number or a job description, that he's opposed to Iron Bull siding with his men over an unnamed mass of people in the Dreadnought. And that actually, I think, really speaks to the ideology of the Qun. Well, it's not just the ideology of the Qun, because there is a sense in let's broadly say military doctrine, most military doctrine, I would say, of the mission comes first. The mission comes before the lives of your troops, of your men. As commanding officer, your task is to accomplish the goal, not to save the lives of your men. However, we instinctively and ethically recognize, meaning abstractly, theoretically, we recognize that a commander who does not put the lives of his troops first is a bad commander, and is an immoral one. That he does his job poorly if he gets his men killed, even if it's for the success of the mission. However, we also have this converse where if people sacrifice themselves willingly to accomplish something, that, excuse me, that there is no higher good, there's no higher virtue. So it seems like we have this tension, but really I think the importance is the important distinction should be obvious, is that to save the dreadnought, leaving the Chargers to die for the sake of the mission, which, it's worth noting, not even for the sake of the mission, because the mission was to destroy the smuggler ship, which they've already accomplished. The mission is already a success, important note. But even if it is for the sake of the mission, allowing your men to die like this is not saving them. It's not. It is going back on or neglecting an obligation that you have taken on to other people in particular. Whereas saving them is, if they were to, if they were to willingly sacrifice themselves, that would be honorable. Just about as honorable as you can get, but that's not what we're talking about here. Again, there's a big difference between sacrificing oneself and sacrificing somebody else. And I mean, we've got it also because I don't trust the Qunari. So I would much rather hang on to the Chargers than a Qunari dreadnought, which is going to go heck off and do its own thing. So
Call the retreat.
Don't!
It's an awful horde.
Back.
It's an awful horde.
All these years, Hisrad, and you throw away all that you are. For what? For this? For them?
His name is Iron Bull.
I suppose it is.
No way they'll get out of range. Won't be long now.
Bull, when the dreadnought sinks...
Sinks? Qunari dreadnoughts don't sink. Come on. Let's get back to my boys.
Thanks. I mean, if it did sink that close to shore, there's a very good chance that most of the actual crew members would be fine. But given that the thing explodes, because it's basically a powder keg, yeah, maybe not. Which was, if I remember correctly, a real problem with Ironside warships.
Inquisitor, it is my duty to inform you that there will be no alliance between our peoples. Nor will you be receiving any more Ben Hasrath reports from your Talvishoth ally.
You under orders to kill me, Gat?
No. The Ben Hasrath have already lost one good man. They'd rather not lose two.
So much for that.
I'm proud of you, Bull.
Thanks, boss. You're late.
Sorry, Chief. Still sore from fighting off all those vents. Good to see you, Inquisitor.
How did the Chargers come out of the fight?
Just fine. Thanks to you and the Chief, we had plenty of time to fall back. Chief's even breaking open a cask of chasing sackmead for the Chargers tonight.
Damn it, Krem. That's the kind of thing you don't have to mention to the Inquisitor.
Sorry, Chief.
Forget it. You're doing fine.
What, because you think she's going to want to join in, or? Alright. Let's see. Qunari bench? Alright, let's check the WarTable.
It's a lot to think about.
So
So much has happened.
Glorious things. In her name. Like the temple. The more we find, the more she triumphs.
Perhaps. Perhaps the old ways are not what we thought.
Okay. Sounds like someone is trying to convert elves to, I guess, to mythology.
Your worship.
A little bit sketchy. Really? I thought we'd had a judgment here of. Or did we already? Yeah, I thought we were bringing, what's his name back to judge. Samson. Let's see. In Orlais. Oh, here we go. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Inquisitor to Rebellion, we have captured Samson in the holding pens, your worship. He's not said much. We'll bring out the villain for judgment at your pleasure. Jailer Blythe. Ooh, we can actually go down to the jail, can't we? I want to see that. I forgot that was a thing. We should do that. Yes. Anything more to do here? Will not look like it. Alright, yeah, let's go down to the jail. See how Samson is doing. I'm curious. I don't think I've ever I don't think I've interacted with too many prisoners down in the jail. I think so. Oh gosh, excuse me. Whee. Let's see if Josephine has anything new to say.
It comes swiftly, this moment that will be spoken of for ages. The day the Herald of Andraste challenged the Darkspawn that thought itself a god. Defeat him, and you'll be more than a holy woman to the people. You'll enter legend.
If it's true, may the Maker judge me worthy of the honor.
And there is the modesty people respect. People joined the Inquisition after hearing you were blessed, but they've stayed because of how you lead. I wanted to tell you that I shared their sentiments, Inquisitor, and... well, I suppose I just did.
Nice.
You've always been there for us, Josephine. And for me.
It means much to hear you say that. Farewell, my lady. When you face Corypheus, may you walk in the light.
Farewell makes that sound so very final, like one of the other options. Which isn't right. We're not really at the end game yet. Now, to be fair, we're getting relatively close. We are getting relatively close to the end. I think there's only 2 or 3 main quests remaining. Okay, here. It's cool. If it's 2 or if it's 3. But there's only... oh gosh, excuse me. There's only a couple of more actual significant main quests left. Nothing... I don't think anything so dungeon crawly as the previous one, called the Ruins. That was very drawn out. That was very long, very significant, very well traveling, I guess I would say. It expands. It's a significantly large area. The rest of the main story quests are relatively contained, if I remember correctly. There's not too much of it left. That said, we still have quite a ways to go time-wise, primarily because of the 2 DLCs. Yes, there's more side quests. There's probably at least another week or 2 of side quests to do if we're going to go anywhere close to 100%, which we're not going to get 100%. Definitely not. But I'd like to get some stuff done. But it's the 2 major story DLCs that provide a significant boost to overall game time.
No one to watch over, your worship.
Oh.
We either have many friends, or you've made short work of enemies.
Oh, okay. That's good. What about Samson, then? Anyway, but yeah, it's this is actually, as of today, as of this stream, this series is tied for the longest single game series that we've done on this channel so far. It just surpassed Dragon Age Origins, which was in second place, at, I believe, 29 streams. 29 or 30. I think it was 29. And it is now, as of tonight, tied with Red Dead Redemption 2, which was 31. And that was including the epilogue, which was several. So, yeah, this game is incredibly long, mostly because of the side content. If you actually look, if you just go through the playlist and just look at the thumbnails, you'll find, I think probably at least half of them are side quests. Plus the side quests we were doing along the way.
Personal interest, I have relieved Josephine, as you might expect. Knight Templar Samson, general to Corypheus, traitor to the Order. The blood on his hands cannot be measured. His head is too valuable to take. Kirkwall, Orlais, many would see him suffer. I can't say I'm not one of them.
Judging him will affect as many as his crimes. I won't take it lightly.
The Red Lyrium will steal your vengeance. You know what it does. Corypheus only delayed my corruption.
Are you still loyal to that thing? He poisoned the Order, used them to kill thousands.
Templars have always been used. How many were left to rot like I was, after the Chantry burned away their minds? Piss on it. I followed him, so Templars could at least die at their best. Same lie as the Chantry. The profit just isn't as pretty.
So he trades out slow death and retirement from madness to definitely fast death, either on the battlefield or being, ripped to shreds by mutation. No one said he was the most stable person.
I
But Maddox,
found your
yes.
people. They believed in you, believed your cause was righteous.
Not your business, Inquisitor.
Your friend Maddox was so loyal, he killed himself. For you.
They were always going to die. I saw what Corypheus was doing. So yes, I fed them hope instead of despair. I made them believe their pain had purpose. Just like the Chantry does. Right, Commander? It ended as well as anything else I've done. Corypheus would kill me on sight. I'll tell your people what they want. Everything I cared about is destroyed.
No, let's get answers from him as he slowly dies. I'm tempted to give him to Kirkwall, because he was instrumental in the madness that rocked that city in Dragon Age 2. But let's get the answers. I'm a little tempted to do a scientifically experiment on him, but no. That's not right. Cullen, do your thing. Also, because Cullen's probably going to beat the living hell out of him, but
Very well. Samson, you will spend your remaining years serving the Inquisition. Cullen will be your handler. Perhaps he can get something useful out of you.
I doubt the Commander believes there's anything worthy left in me.
You're not wrong, but you served something greater than yourself once. Perhaps you can be made to remember that.
they let him keep the armor. A little bit odd. We did this quest. Why is it still showing? Yeah? Yeah? Oh, wow, there's a lot in these lines. I forgot about that. Those are just... Missing Waste has a bunch of stuff. Oof. Yeah, it's a bunch of stuff. Interlands is just maps. Storm Coasts. Requisition. Western Approach. Stay, Requisition. Okay. So let's go to the Emerald Graves. Carol, the Red Templar responsible. Lance Pavilion, huh? Knight's Tomb. Ooh, this was a good one. That might be good. And that's it's a survey. Emerald Graves. That's for Fairbanks. That's Carol. Oh yeah, it's that little, one of those little fort areas. And this, Dinan Hanin. Yeah, we'll bring. Cassandra, Blackwall. No. Let's bring Varric, Blackwall, and Solus. Sounds good to me. Why not? Why not? We're doing archaeology. We should probably bring Varric, I suppose. And we're looking at ancient elves or something to do with it. Check. We can bring Solus. What he has to say. If he has anything to say. Alright, and that means we need to level up. Ooh, Varric? Just Varric? Just Varric. The retreat thing's done. Yeah? Yeah.
Dalish. They've been murdered.
Looks like they tried to fight back, but most were unarmed. Poor buggers. Never stood a chance.
There should be Inquisition soldiers.
Oh, darn. Wish I'd listened to that. Alright, anyway, into the ruins. Dinan Hanin. Dalish. I'm trying to remember exactly what's in this place. It's been a while. It's been a while, and this was a minor side quest, so it doesn't stick out in my memory. Oh. Well, that's not good. Somebody dangerous up there. Ooh. Okay. We're supposed to find the tomb, and we're also supposed to kill that. Which, yes. Looking forward to killing that. Got him. Oh, that was relatively easy.
Corypheus's men had part of a seal. Do they even know what it opens?
Whatever it is, it wasn't worth killing those elves.
Well, they certainly thought so. I suppose their priorities are a bit misaligned. The whole archaeologists seeking great power and seeking it by destroying those archaeologists who were at the site beforehand. Yeah, it's big Indiana Jones vibes, I think. In it. What's this? Right for the past. Only there did glory dwell. For here the bow was strung, the sword bequeathed, the vows sworn. So glory was born within the hearts of elves.
The Emerald Knights. They once patrolled the borders of the Dales, protecting the elven people. The Dalish saw them as romantic heroes. The Chantry called them ruthless butchers. I suspect both sides have some element of truth.
Okay, that did nothing, but smashed a bunch of boxes, which was kind of cool. Anyway, let's go. Can I just... That's an absurdly large lock. You're not telling me I can't pick that thing, really? Man, it's dumb. A lot of very dead people. I know that.
Let's look around.
Which one is Shadow Strike? Sing for the past, where rest those who came before. For each night a seed was sown, roots twisting with their brothers and sisters, so the forest grew, a reflection of our might. Don't need those yet. There it is. Got the seal. Moving on. Okay. Ooh, Arlathan. Before the ages were named or numbered, our people were glorious and eternal and never changing. Like the great oak tree, they were constant in their traditions, strong in their roots and ever reaching for the sky. They felt no need to rush when life was endless. They worshipped their gods for months at a time. Decisions came after decades of debate, and an introduction could last for years. From time to time, our ancestors would drift into centuries-long slumber, but this was not death. And we know they wandered the fade in dreams. Euthanira. In those ages, our people called the land Elvenon, which in the old language means the place of our people, and at the center of the world stood the great city of Arlathan, a place of knowledge and debate, where the best of the ancient elves would go to trade knowledge, greet old friends, and settle disputes that had gone on for millennia. But while our ancestors were caught up in the forever cycle of ages, drifting through life at what we today would consider an intolerable pace, the world outside the lush forests and ancient trees was changing. The humans first arrived from Parvalan to the north. Called Shemlin or Quicklings by the ancients, the humans were pitiful creatures whose lives blinked by in an instant. When they first met the elves, the humans were brash and warlike, quick to anger and quicker to fight, with no patience for an unhurried pace of elven diplomacy. But the humans brought worse things than war with them. Our ancestors proved susceptible to human diseases, and for the first time in history, elves died of natural causes. What's more, those elves who spent time bartering and negotiating with humans found themselves aging, tainted by the humans' brash and impatient lives. Many believed that the ancient gods had judged them unworthy of their long lives and cast them down among the quicklings. Our ancestors came to look upon the humans as parasites, which I understand is similar to the way the humans see our people in the cities. The ancient elves immediately moved to close Elvenon off from the humans, for fear that this quickening effect would crumble the civilization. The fall of Oilathan, as told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralaferin clan of the Dalish Hills. Interesting view on the matter. Why is he sparkling? Oops. There we go. Interesting. Hi there, big fella. Done. Man. That looks like an oddly small skeleton. I love rogue damage output. It's insane. It didn't even get through its vocalizations. Anyway. Yeah, that's a little bit, I don't know, that's a little bit, I guess, optimistic. A bit of an optimistic outlook on the Ancient Elves. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of how the Ancient Elves in general are handled in this game. Reminds me a good deal of how the Protheans were handled, especially in Mass Effect 3. We get to meet Ancient Elves just like we get to meet Protheans, and they are not what we expect, or what any of the characters expected. Their grandiose, wise civilization turns out to have been a bit more bloodthirsty than most people thought. To the point where some people are utterly shocked by the revelations. Look, a hut. Probably not a hut. Anyway. I'm playing Star Wars too much. But yeah, it's an interesting parallel to think of it that way, and I hadn't really made that connection too much. But I think there is certainly something there. And it's also something excuse me, maybe at the time, and maybe even still, the BioWare hasn't really been able to resist call it the neglectful precursors trope. Where there are these ancient wise precursors that turn out to have been either straight up evil, or at least deeply neglectful of the people who came after. The clearest example of this sort of thing is the Forerunners in Halo, who left these weapons of mass destruction, the Halo rings, capable of wiping out all complex life in an entire part of the galaxy. Just kind of sitting there. Now, it would have only been the Reclaimers, that is, the humans, who would be ever capable of reactivating the things, but still. It fell. But still, that's quite the thing to leave laying around, you know? What are they called? The Architects, or the Celestials in Star Wars, are another example of this. They left tons of stuff laying around that was incredibly dangerous. And they also did all sorts of weird things to the astrography, I guess you'd say, of the galaxy. That wasn't very... split off the unknown regions, left what can be used as a super weapon, Centerpoint Station in the Corellian system, after using it to construct the Corellian system. Although all sorts of things like this were done by these ancient, long-departed people. Emerald Knights, forget not the past. It is all that remains. For each night a seed was sown, roots twisting in with their brothers and sisters. So the forest remains a reflection of our sorrow. This is actually, speaking of reflections of our sorrow and twisting history, forgetting the past. I noticed that there was a very, very prominent line in the new Rings of Power trailer about forgetting the past. Almost to the point of it being just a bit disturbingly similar to to a similar line that was very much hated in The Last Jedi. Hated by a lot of the same people, note. People with taste. Or rather, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't say people with taste. People who are capable of accurately assessing quality. But yeah, that's... there was a line about... we'll get... the past is dead. We either... Oh, what was it? We either... the past is dead. We either die with it or move on. And here I'm just thinking, yeah, that sounds a lot like The Last Jedi and the worst parts of The Last Jedi. Wow. Anyway, yeah, that's I can already see that as being deeply disrespectful towards Vulcan. Of course it will be. Bublin, hey, how's it going? Says, did you find out how old that dragon is yet? Oh, the which one? What do you mean? The Corypheus' dragon or something else? Emerald Knights, mourn for the past and all that was left there. Where we trusted in dreams and perceived immortality, we trusted in promises and in hope. So we dreamed in vain. We lost these gifts so long ago. Yeah, mourning for the past is much better than the past is dead. Move on from it or die with it. Yeah, that doesn't sound like mourning for the past. I mean, there is a danger of being stuck in the past, to be fair. Joke about the game's title. Hey, listen, a couple weeks ago, we had an entire stream that was nothing but hunting dragons. So there was that, at least. There are, 7 dragons in this game? I think a couple more than that, actually. Because there's also the few dragons as well that are the... I mean, there's Corypheus' dragon. There's the one in Jaws of Hakkon. There's a few dragons. They're mostly insignificant to the story, which is, you're right, it's kind of silly. Oh yeah, you had the same joke about Elden Ring when the game came out. How old is that ring, though? Yeah, it's supposed to be Elden, and it's old, and it's supposed to be a ring. Well, I mean, as I understand it, according to the lore of the game, the Elden Ring is not a ring, it is a rune. It's a circular, like, ring-shaped rune.
I sense one of the artifacts of my people.
More about the artifact. Maybe I'll come back to this. Okay. It's like that circular ring-shaped rune thing. And that's what it's referring to. The Elden Ring is broken. I haven't played it yet. That's the way out. I don't want to leave. It's not where I'm going. And similarly, in this game, it's not so much... like, dragons aren't really essential to the story, and that's always been kind of silly. And even, like, the developers even recognize this early or late in the production of the first game, and they're like, "Oh no, we kind of have to make the this archdemon a dragon, don't we?
Excellent.
Otherwise, the title makes no sense." Because the reason for the title is the time period, and they actually came up with that relatively early on. That's why it's called Dragon Age, is because this is the Dragon Age. The 100-year periods, so centuries in this in Thedas, are named for major events that occurred at the beginning of them. Yeah, actually, the tree is probably more prominent than even the ring, even what they mean by it. From what I've seen, I haven't played the game yet. But yeah, devs get a name in their head based on something that's relatively minor in the game, even though it's really important to the lore. and they just stick with it because you can't really, like, the name of something is the hardest part about it to change, especially if you've already done a bunch of promotional stuff for it. Especially if you've done promotional stuff before the story is complete. That's when it's especially difficult. It has to be either up or down. Let's try up. Oh, there's two things here. Huh? Really? Yeah, these are definitely the elven gods. Yevon. Oh, there it is. Sneaky, sneaky. But yeah, this game, the only reason it's called Dragon Age is because it takes place in a particular century called the Dragon Age. Because at the beginning of this century, during the first year, the young divine, I think, what was it, happened to see a dragon, a very rare high dragon, flying overhead at some point, like on her birthday or something. And so it took it as a sign that this age is to be called the Dragon Age. And yeah, cool, that's all backstory and stuff, but like, if you don't read codex entries, you won't know that. And so the entire name of the game seems silly because in the first game there's two dragons. That's it. You fight both of them. One of them is like falsely worshipped as Andraste, and the other one is the Archdemon. But that's it. It's not like dragons are significant. It's not like, I mean, by contrast, a game like Skyrim, their dragons are incredibly significant. Like, hello, can I pick this up? I didn't need a barrier. I just picked the stupid thing up. You can't. Okay, guess I can't. Shouldn't do that. That'll hurt. Yeah. I don't know. I think that whole very common problem is a little bit silly. But I guess it speaks to things like development cycles and stuff like that, you know? Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump down onto or next to that statue, because I think there's something there we need to get to. Right here. Like, look, there's a broken piece of railing. It's practically inviting me to fall here. And look, there's a little ladder going across. Yeah, this is the perfect place to go. There we go. More back here. All right. I mean, other pieces of media are, like, other than games. I feel like this is less of a problem, because usually by the time you have a name, for marketing purposes and such, typically the, did I already go up here? I think I did. Yeah. Typically it's already plotted out quite thoroughly, right? So, you know, if it's a book, and it's referring to, say, The Lord of the Rings, easiest example. It's about the villain, who is the Lord of the Rings of Power. The line is even used in the game, or sorry, not game. Oh my gosh, thinking's all muddled. The line is used in the media. In this case, the book. This is, so, you know, it's well planned out. It's already there. It's already expected. The name makes sense in the context, and even sort of to the casual reader, it makes sense. Because you can have a good idea of the story before you name it. Is this it?
This is it. I wonder what the elves left here.
We really picked the right path, huh? Let's light all these just in case this becomes relevant. It feels like it should. I feel like we should do that, right? Oh no, there's zombies. Uh-oh, there's zombies. Ow! Ah, I'm poisoned.
Done and done.
Oops. Need that knife. Fine. Anyway, yes, I think that's a neat little trend that is almost unique to video games, and I think it's mostly due to the production cycle and how the production cycles work, more than anything else. And how the production cycles work uniquely for video games is distinct from other forms of media. I would even say other forms of literature, in particular. Oh, hey, a revenant. That's it. I think we got him. Full shield. I think we've lit all the Veilfire. I think we found all the runes. I think we have just about everything here, aside from whatever is down there. Which I think might just be more zombies and skeletons and stuff. But let's see. I think it is. Oh. It's what, an alternate exit? Okay, never mind. Anyway. Yeah. Like I've been saying though, I think that I've brought this up now two different occasions. Even with the latest trailer, which is far from the worst thing. It makes the production value of the Rings of Power. Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about. The latest trailer of the Rings of Power, the production values look a lot better than they have in previous releasing and stuff that's been released previously, but still not good. Nowhere near the standard. Nowhere even close to the standard of the Peter Jackson films, which were 20 years ago. I mean, just look at the sets and the costuming and look how different it is. Look how inferior it is. Strictly superior, or strictly inferior in basically every way I can consider. The meme going around is about the scale mail print cloth on, who is it? Tarmiriel, I think it's Tarmiriel on her costume. But, and I mean, look at Aiglos, Gilgalad's spear. It's the same basic design, but it's just a flat, boring gray that I have to assume is one of those we'll fix it in post things. That's from promotional image. A promotional image, not even just from like a set photo or anything. No, it was released as a promotional image. I'm just like, Eladrin, not Eladrin. Those are Bay Elves in D&D. Elandrin, our brother. Fallen didn't guide you, Maker guide you. Well, both, really. Let here the truth be kept, lest you be remembered a traitor, or our sorrows seem a passing woe. Though you swore to serve our people, there were those who questioning your heart. Too often had we fought with humans along our borders until the beginning was lost to memory. Rumors of an abduction stirred. As always, their chantry was swift to spread lies. In haste and anger, they killed Siona's sister for wandering too near the hunter's path. You carried her body back to us. You mourned with us, yet your heart was distracted. Siona begged for vengeance, and you turned away. More and more you vanished without word or explanation. When whispers rose that you would swear yourself to their maker, we feared would come. Siona sought to save you, to bring you back to us. She had lost a sister, must she also lose a brother? Beneath the trees she saw you with a woman, the one who turned you from us. The woman gestured toward the village. You and she turned to gaze upon the chantry's walls. Siona returned. She told us how humans were turning you against us, how their lies must have filled you. As a loyal servant to the Maker's cause, you would betray our secrets. When we went to ask if there was a truth in this, you were already gone. So we sought to help you. With haste, Siona led her people to the village. There we would challenge you. There we would bring you back to us or to justice. In the dim of a moonless night, she saw Siona through the trees. She raced toward Siona, a cry on her lips and something in her hand. Siona's arrow flew. So the woman fell, the name Elandrin dying on her lips. Daisies slipping from her grasp. The men of the village suspected the girl's flight and heard the scream. They fell upon the elves, but were no match. Siona's haste surpassed your own. You knelt beside the trees, blood-soaked petals clinging to your clothes from a final embrace. When more humans came, you would not be moved, and they would not listen. Their arrows found your heart, and you fell beside her. We found your body in the river where they cast you aside. She was taken by her own. It was not the end, but your part is past. Rest now as our honored brother once more. A wreath of daisies at your brow, a letter she carried in your hand. Whoever guides you, whoever guides her, may your souls meet once more in the beyond. Faded love letter, or faded blood stains the letter. Adeline. What care have I for gods I have never seen, for a maker I do not know? Let others distract themselves with such lofty concerns. I know only this life. I have seen only this world, and I care only for you. Perhaps your priestess distrusts the sincerity of uncivilized elves. If she must hear me say I will follow the Maker, so be it. Your God intercedes as much as ours. My life will not change. I will return in 2 weeks' time. My heart longs for you till then, and will remain with you forever after, Elandrin. I like this. I also am a little bit... It's a flirt to convert story. One which, it's important to note, one which neither side particularly takes the theological or the religious aspect all that seriously.
When the elves attacked that town, it prompted the exalted march of the Dales.
We should give this to the Dalish. They have a claim to it.
The elves don't come across in the best light here. Maybe we should let them stick with their old stories.
I imagine the Chantry would be interested in it as well.
It would, yes. Also, note, it's in front of a statue of a demon. With votive candles around it. That's a demon. That is 100% a demon. That is the same model statue that we've seen several times throughout the past couple of games of a demon. In one case, it wasn't even a statue of a demon. It was just literally a demon. The one that possessed Meryl's keeper, Marithari. That one. Literal demon. That's great. Alright, let's see. Was there an exit right around here? I thought there was. Weird backdoor exit. Let me see. No, it's not. Let's find our way out. The ordinary way. Still a locked door here. Can I? Okay.
Hold on.
Never mind. Hey, you okay? Sorry. Oops. Okay, well, it's not down there. Oh, gosh, I found where it's not. Let's see, is there an exit right here? Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Zappy noises. Anyway, let's keep going. Yeah, it's there's a great, I think there's great potential for maybe not overlap, but certainly reconciliation between Drostianism and old pagan elven worship. They understand the gods to be what they seem to be, which is ancient and powerful beings. That's in no way contrary to the Maker. If the ancient elven gods are spirits as well, that's also in no way contrary to Drostianism, Chantry. Let's do this. So again, that can be largely, I think, reconciled. It could be, again, if there were a bit more of what we would probably call what we might in our context call interfaith dialogue, let's say. If there were a bit more of that, a bit more willingness to consider what the other is saying, I think that there is some potential there. Of course, there's also potential for more disagreement. Not to automatically say that that there would be necessarily, that necessarily the elves would just, convert right on the spot. Almost certainly not. Okay, that's all. Yeah, we got them all. Nice. And honestly, this is one of those points which I bring up with respect to real world religion as well, or real world theology, is that again, in large part, there's no innate conflict between monotheism and pagan polytheism. There's no innate conflict. There is conflict in practice. There is disagreement. But there's no innate conflict. There needn't be conflict, in other words. No. Is there an order for this? No. It's gonna go. Yeah, it just goes out. I understand. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, well, anyway, on to the next thing. Over here.
Why not?
Well, not what? I want to know. Not the gossip. Let's see. No, it is inside. Okay. Books. But that's it. Comprehensive look. The well-known noble bloodlines of Orlais. Ami de Marquet. De Marc. Sorry. Émile de Marc. That's it. Field of Lamarck bears a falcon volant on a field of sky blue and gold, as his motto is to the sun on blessed wings. I like that. Let's just quick travel, because I don't want to walk through all this. Let's this way, I guess. Probably. Oh, whoa, whoa, no, not that way. Bubble Nasty, like any of Marvel or DC, the recent Guardians of the Galaxy game would be cool to see you stream. Yeah, kind of. I've seen some stuff about it, and I've liked what I've seen. It does actually look pretty good. I'd think about that. Someone says I'm great at bringing life to the text. You mean the reading there? Yeah, I try. I do my best on that. I've done, you'll find on the channel here or there, I've done a couple of genuine audiobook readings. Oh, wolves. Okay, I don't care. Come on, let's keep going. Primarily, the one that comes to mind was one from C.S. Lewis that I know doesn't exist as an audiobook, but certainly should. It was an essay delivered to Oxford, called Our English Syllabus. It's about teaching. It's about higher education, and it also speaks to a lot of the philosophical underpinnings of education and education theory. It's a great essay, and I typically will do recordings for things when I think that there should be one, but I can't find one. So a lot of my work is inspired by that adage of if you want something and nobody else has done it, why aren't you doing it? You know. It's also why I keep talking about doing an audiobook recording of Hard in Hightown, which I'll do it eventually. I know I will. I already have started it. I might want to start over just because of stylistic changes. It's better to do those sorts of things all at once or close together, at least in my experience. But I would definitely like to do it because, as far as I know, there's only one recording of Hard in Hightown, and it's by the channel Gilderthallen, who is great. But she does not have the voice for it, unfortunately. It's read quite well, but it's read in a sort of in her usual style, which is very nice, very calming, and very calm and very straightforward, which is not very suitable to the noir style story of Hard in Hightown, unfortunately. So I really want to do that at some point. I'm sure I will. I'm sure I'll get around to it. One of those things, you know, that I'll certainly get around to it eventually. One of those days when I'm up for recording it, and one of those days, probably not when I'm streaming, because I will have just been talking for 3 hours. And it pretty much, at least in my case, it pretty much has to be at night, because otherwise there will be children noises in the background. So, oops, what happened there? Oops, my bad. But yeah, it's something I'd like to do. It's something I'm certainly interested in doing. Oh. Wait, have we just not been in here before? We might not have been in here before. Nice little statuary there. Midwife's journal. And when diary was found amongst more valuable items. Remember, yada yada yada. Number 20. Her name is Bernice. Bernice had the baby, a boy, full of hair. Named him Everest. Tried to pay me with a heavy gold locket. Falcon on its face. Oh, I wonder. Son might one day want to know where he's from. He should be healthy enough to leave. Can't turn her out. Midwife's apprentice, huh? Alright. Let's go visit an interested party down... not down here. Over there, I suppose. Can I just give it to Fairbanks? I assume that Fairbanks is back at the Inquisition, is back at Skyhold.
Thank the Maker.
Gertrude?
The Inquisition will always be welcome here.
Oh, not her.
I hope things are going well. It's been better since we moved to Argon's Lodge. We're making a difference, especially now that we're helping the Inquisition.
All right, good to know.
Finally, out of that damp cave.
Well, that's good.
Fine by me.
Is it Clara?
Good day to you, Inquisitor.
You were right. Fairbanks is noble by birth. Fairbanks is not even his real name.
Let me see. Évariste Remarque. I knew it from the start. I know just who to give this to. This will be enough to make the council sit up and take notes. I'll send this on as soon as possible. Thank you, Inquisitor.
I mean, I know that Fairbanks didn't want us to do that, and that's kind of...
The Inquisition will always be welcome here.
It's not a great thing, but still. What? Anything I need to buy? Is that a dagger? Oh, is that a dagger? It's cool, though. There's no blade. Just a circle bit. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, not really. Anything worth selling? Man, I forgot to put all this in the storage. Need to. Okay. All right, cool.
Inquisitor.
Nope. Okay.
I need to be going.
Be safe.
I could have given it to him, couldn't I have? Oh well, it's fine. All right, anything else to do here? Think so. Oh, to the Chanter of the Dalish. Okay. Let's do that. Ooh, where do we return it to? The Dalish, the Chantry. Let's return it to the Chantry. Sable is a good Chantry girl, as we've established. That'd be fine. Maybe we shouldn't have Solus here to torture him with us. He'll probably be fine, though. All right. Solus is definitely going to disapprove of this. At least well, maybe not. I don't know. That's actually a good question. Up there. Should quick travel up there. That's actually a really good question as to whether Solus will approve or disapprove of this. Just given that he
have caused you harm.
The Divine taught me it was all nonsense. Our gods.
It is as I said. We cannot dispute the existence of powerful beings.
Well, here we go.
But it is the light of the Maker that exposes what they truly are.
Demons.
That is what must be.
Everything is demons.
Well, yes. Well, yes, most things are demons. I mean, lots of things are demons. That is also a statement about reality, of course.
Is there something I might help you with?
But yeah, that is another point here. That's another way of approaching this kind of interfaith dialogue is by, I think your gods are demons, which, I mean, they might be. Spirits corrupted in certain ways are demons. In this world, certainly. So, yeah, kind of. I have no qualms with that.
I found these accounts of the attack on Red Crossing. I thought the Chantry might be interested in them.
Such old history. Is it authentic? The Dalish do not part with such things so easily. How interesting. For all the elves speak of freedom, they would not grant it to one of their own. Our histories should be shared. I will see this delivered to our scholars.
Note by a scholar at the University of Orlais. The source is a recent donation recovered from a ruin in the Emerald Graves, yada yada yada. The document outlines elven involvement in the exalted marches of the Dales. Of note is one of the elves, Elandrin, converting to Andrasianism, and the hostility this ignited among his peers, as evidenced by the murder of his lover. An illustration of the prejudice and violence to which the Chantry stood in opposition at the time. Would be interesting. Perhaps publishable? Must investigate.
The Chantry can be a generous friend. Your donation is greatly appreciated. Make her go with you.
And also with you. And with your spirit? I don't know what the response is supposed to be here.
Please, calm yourself. You'll cause yourself harm.
Celine lives. That is something at least. She understands. But such scandal. Some are my associates.
Your standing will recover. You are broadly invested.
My world is at risk, my friend.
Welcome then. You'll finally join the rest of us.
Okay. Anything to do while we're here? I don't think so. Graves done there. Puisse du Lion. Oh, there's Fade Rifts to do in Puisse du Lion. That's something. Couple of things to do in Impuisse over in the springs. That's where we fought all the dragons, but we actually just kind of stopped. We just fought the dragons. We didn't actually do anything else. So let's go there and just work our way back. Because we fought the dragons, we were rushing through at that point because I was running out of time for that stream. So let's actually wrap up the things that we're supposed to do here as well. There's actually quests. Wrap this up, then go... we'll probably have time for one more location's worth of side quests. So long as it's not too very many of them. I think there was a thing to do... I forget who there may have been a thing with. But we'll be fine. We'll figure something out. Like I said, we should have at least enough time to do this. And maybe possibly one more area. One more region worth of quests. Here we go. I should have switched to Cassandra, but it's fine. At least we have Solus. I don't have Dispel prepped on him. Oh! A terror demon. There we go. Wow. Oh, Bublin. Yes, I've played most of Divinity Original Sin 2. I didn't get all the way through it. Primarily because primarily just because I got busy with other things. And honestly the world building didn't draw me back in as I would have kind of liked it to. thought that it was good, but the world building was a little weaker than it could have been. Like, it didn't draw me in quite as much as I think it could have and should have. Maybe that's on me. Maybe I didn't go into it as much. Oh gosh. Ow. And maybe it's also because I didn't play the first one, so I have little, if any, context. But as far as the gameplay goes, and also the characters, I love it. The tactical gameplay in it is incredible. The turn-based tactical gameplay is amazing. It's so incredibly good, and it makes me really excited for the eventual, finally the eventual release of Baldur's Gate 3, the full release of Baldur's Gate 3, because it's made by Larian Studios, and from what I've seen, it uses a lot of the same mechanics, but with D&D 5e as the base, rather than its own system. So that looks great. But yeah, I'm very excited for that sort of thing. Ow! What in the world? I hate these things. I hate these stupid things. There we go. Gosh. Forgot to respec Solus. Darn it, really? Oh, any tips starting soon? Magic is way fun. Magic is really fun. Focus on your combinations. On spell and ability combinations. Things like setting up area effects and not just area effects, damage area effects, but also environmental area effects. You'll find things like things that set up areas that are either damaging or are, or even if they're not damaging, if they are, they start environmental hazards and things like that. Especially if they can be manipulated by other spells and other effects, are incredible. They're very, very good. One of the things that is just really surprising about it is, so I started off with, I played Losa, the bard, as my main character, and I also I started her spec'd as one of the mages. I think the conjuration mage, maybe, starting with mostly like elemental powers and conjuring the elemental effects and things like that. And one of the things that one of the spells that I kept equipped and I actually use pretty regularly on my quick bar is rain. Just making it rain, because it does a couple of things. It puts out fires, which is really useful, especially in combat, because it puts out people who are on fire and areas that are on fire that you can't walk through. But keep that there, and then also it makes the ground wet, which increases lightning damage. And my main attacks, my main attack weapons are two lightning wands, dual wield lightning wands. So I just rain on this whole area of people, and then I just go zap the bad guys, and they take double damage or something. And it's a really good a really good illustration of how combos work in the game, because it's pretty essential to have a good handle on that sort of thing. He's not going to be using poison. He's going to benefit from some of these passives. Not these though. Anyway, like I said, it's pretty great. It's a pretty great. The gameplay is amazing. The tactical gameplay is amazing. The other thing to note is that you do not keep all of your companions all the way through. There is a major plot point partway through the game, maybe about a quarter to a third of the way through the game. There's a major plot point where you lose some of your companions permanently. It is not a little fake out thing. It's not one of those where, oh, they'll come back later, or, oh, I'll just get them, I'll get them in the next mission. No, they're gone. So beware of that. It's a very bold narrative choice to actually do that. Most games I know of don't do that sort of thing. If they're gonna like take companions away from you, they're gone for a mission or two. And usually you have some input on whether it happens or not. What was that? That sounded like a dragon. Anyway, usually, like I said, you have some input on whether it happens or not, right? Whether you lose companions or not. Like, think about, like, Mass Effect 2 and 3. Your companions can die, but only if you act in certain ways, if you do certain things right or wrong. It's more like in Mass Effect 1, how you're gonna lose Caden or Ashley. That's all there is to it. You definitely will. And so, in a situation like that, it's I think a really bold narrative choice as well as a gameplay choice to more or less make you choose your squad, which squad members are going to survive and which ones are going to leave forever, whether that's dying or just leaving, because they can do both if I understand, if I remember correctly. So that's actually something to really consider when you're thinking about your squad, when you're thinking about your group, what you're thinking about what you're planning on doing, and all that kind of stuff. All right, where next? We're missing a landmark in Buis. Odd. I didn't realize that. Oh, there's a ton of stuff to do in Exalted Plains. Bunch more to do in Hissing Wastes. Dirthaman. We have literally nothing left to do in Ferelden. That's hilarious to me. Everything left is in Orlais. What do you think? We got a half an hour. Let's do some stuff in Exalted Plains. Shards. Fly caches. We're not going to do this. We're not going to desecrate graves. I don't want to do that. Let's start here, and then we'll wind our way through. See what we get done tonight. We'll see. But yeah, work on your spell and ability combos, and then make sure you have a good team built. Because you can by default bring four members along at a time, but you have more party members than that, ultimately. So pick the ones you like. Keep in mind that you can respec them to a significant degree throughout. You can build them kind of however you want. Supply cache around here. Huh? There, maybe. Above the Dalish camp, perhaps. That's where they keep their Hala, I think it looks like. Right? I guess not. I guess not up here. Any origin characters that you like in Divinity. Like I said, you pick one to be your main character. Or you can have your own custom character. If you have your own custom character, then all of the origin characters will be NPCs. And you can pick which ones you're going to be going with and which ones are going to be your companions. I really like Losa as the main character, the bard, the woman, the bard woman. What's her face? I like. She's also good as an NPC as well. So don't discount that. I like. Oh gosh, what's his name? Guy with the beard and the crossbow. Guy with the beard and the crossbow. I really like him. His character arc and his backstory and how he deals with his sort of past trauma stuff is great. Really well done. Shard. Put that next. There's the undead party member, the skeleton guy. I like him, but I didn't keep him in my main party. On the playthrough I went on. I maybe should have. I feel like I maybe should have, but I already had, like, the trouble was he was spec'd as a mage, and I already kind of had too many mages. So, yeah. To be fair, I could have completely respec'd him, like I said, to a pretty significant degree. You can train people to almost any set of abilities you want for any of your companions, which is weird for an RPG like that, to be able to have that much freedom in determining what your companion's abilities are. Usually they're locked into a couple of trees or things. No, all of the characters, including all of the NPCs, have access to every single ability, every single tree there is in the entire game. So there's no limits. No limits for that. So that's actually really cool. Cool to do that sort of thing. That opens up your options a bit. I kind of like the lizard. There's more to him than meets the eye at the start. He's unbelievably annoying to begin with, but that's very intentional for the writing. And that's written very intentionally. He's incredibly annoying on purpose, but there's a lot more to him than meets the eye. I don't like the elves in that game. How they make elves so very alien. So I didn't really love the elf character. What's her name? The dwarf, similarly, though I'm not usually a fan of dwarves in most fantasy, so he's got some interesting backstory stuff and interesting interaction with the plot, but I don't really love him. Take him or leave him. Who am I missing? My favorite characters are definitely Losa, the redhead bard, and what's his name? The guy with the beard. Crossbowman. No! Who, by the way, makes a great ranger if you spec him that way. Who am I missing? Because there's 6. I think there's a total of 6 starting characters. You got Losa, you got, what's his face? Beard guy, you got the dwarf, you got the lizard, you got the undead, you got the elf. No, that's it. I got everybody. Yeah, but the 2 of them, like I said, are definitely my favorites. But the rest of them are interesting. You chose the lizard because you heard he's gay once on the internet? Not necessarily. I think that might be something like a dialogue choice somewhere. I don't remember. He's a noble. He is royal prince, the Red Prince, hence the name. That's right, that's his name. And he had a concubine, I think. I'm trying to remember exactly. I think he's closer to bi. He's also a lizard. So, who really knows? The lizards are very are culturally pretty distinct. Really? How do I get to that shard? It's ridiculous. If there's another way around. Or I'll just leave it and do this off stream. This is silly. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot more complexity to him later on. And also, worth noting, you do get a good deal of like character story for the character that you choose. It's not entirely like you make them into your blank slate character. You still get to interact with their backstory stuff quite a bit. I was a little worried because it seemed like if you choose one of them, that they get the least character development, which at least it seemed like that early on. But eventually they really develop into their own fleshed out character that you're playing as. So that's very good. I'm glad of that. Because like I said, Los's character is very interesting, and her backstory is really interesting, and I really like the way that she interacts with everybody as well. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to miss out on her character story stuff. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. Oh, come on now. There. Okay, we're making progress. We're above where we were. Hopefully that means we can jump down to where we need to go. Yes, this was ridiculous. Why did they make us platform in a game like this? I was complaining about this last week, wasn't I? I think I was complaining about this already. Ridiculous. Alright, keep going. Anyway, moving on. Where's their supply cache? Oh, right there. There it is.
I must tend to our fallen.
Anyway, yeah. It's like I said, I like it's one of those where I think I like the gameplay better than the narrative. Or better than the world. Because the narrative is cool. But I just, like I said, I can't really get into the world building of it. It's another one of those. I think you were around last week when we were talking about this, about the sort of escapism angle of fantasy, and that part of what I like most about fantasy literature, broadly speaking, whether that's games or books or movies or whatever, or television or whatever, is the escapism is a better world, but also that Dragon Age and Divinity similarly are kind of crapsack worlds where everyone is kind of worse off for perfectly understandable reasons, like reasons that make perfect sense but are inescapable. In that sense, it's a little bit. It also I will note very much like Dragon Age. In slightly different ways. It draws a lot of inspiration.
I don't know. It'll take time to earn back her trust, if I ever do.
Well, she does hate it when people lie to her. At least she didn't stab you in the book.
Don't you mean the back?
No, I mean the book. Definitely the book.
Oh no. You stabbed Varric's book. Anyway, but like also much like Dragon Age, like I was saying, it draws a lot of inspiration in maybe some different aspects, but it draws a lot of inspiration from Wheel of Time as well. But of course, with more of an emphasis on other races and such. Okay, no, let's go here and let's see what's here. Shards, there's caches, there's that, a letter. Go there. Look at 20 minutes, cool. Yeah, like I said, it's one of those worlds that I can't really get into it as much because it's very much dark fantasy rather than high fantasy. There's not a lot of optimism, let's say. I also, maybe this is my fault for not reading carefully and such. I also, I don't quite understand the metaphysics of the world. Like, I feel like I should. Like, I don't, like, there is a divine, a living God type character at all times. I don't exactly understand what that means, but it's implied because it implies omnipotence. Like, the game explicitly implies omnipotence, but also still implies mortality. And that's kind of contradictory, where I don't quite get it. Part of the goal is to become the next divine. So I don't. And part of why I can't get into the world is because I don't quite understand it, and also I can't quite understand a part that is very central to the narrative. So there's that. What's the other thing about it? Oh, right. Very important gameplay tip. So if you're just starting out, if you have never played Divinity before, then I very highly will suggest to actually follow the quest path, by which I even mean the main quest path, which is against the instinct of every gamer ever. Because every gamer ever does exactly what I'm doing, which is go to do every side quest that exists.
Anyone?
No, actually. Is it Avon? The river? Anyway. Yeah, it's actually do the main side quests or the main quest before the side quests. It will pretty clearly signpost your points of no return. So, do your side quests before the points of no return, but actually do the main quests first, because in a lot of cases, the main quests will unlock areas and abilities and items and all sorts of things that you actually need to progress certain areas and certain side quests, even just exploration stuff. So if you go exploring off the main path, off the main quest path, there's a fair chance that you will get stumped somewhere. You'll hit a roadblock that you cannot overcome. Just mechanically speaking, you cannot overcome it yet. And it's not because of, like, invisible walls. Like, you cannot go here. It is too high a level for you. It's nothing like that. It is just, mechanically speaking, you don't have the powers and abilities and items you need to actually get to where you're trying to go or do what you're trying to do for this side quest that you picked up. So you actually need to progress the main quest first. And like I said, that's at least, I don't know about you, but that is very alien to my gamer instincts. Okay, let's just do these while we're here. And go back to the other one. That's very alien to my gamer instincts, which they do every side quest first because you don't want them to become unavailable. But this actually paces things correctly, like a game probably should, which has the main quest being the more important one, and then you can do side content. That's one of the strange design philosophies of the game that makes perfect sense, but it's atypical from a game design standpoint. You love a good main quest. Yeah, I mean, I do too. The main quests are probably the best and most important parts to get right in any game. If you get the main quest, if the main quest sucks, then your game is kind of going to suck. And I don't know. I honestly kind of think I like I kind of think that I like the side quests in Divinity better than the main quest. And maybe it's because I don't fully understand the lore of the game. Because the deep lore of the game is absolutely essential to understand the main story. Because of course it is. But a lot of it isn't just explicitly told to you and explained to you in a really kind of maybe ham-fisted sort of way like it is in a lot of other games. Even something as sophisticated as, say, Dragon Age, which just the introduction just tells you the story that you need to know. Divinity doesn't really do that. At least not very clearly. And so I stumbled on through most of the game without fully understanding like the main. I still don't, honestly. The main point of the whole main story, the whole main quest. It really feels like you're just dropped into a very complicated world and told to figure it out on your own, which is cool. And I do like that aspect. It's just that, one, I wasn't expecting it, and so I didn't pay as close attention as I should have right out of the gate. But then also, the other aspect of it is that I don't love the world building that we do get. I don't think I quite care for it as best I understand it. So yeah, I'll probably come back to it at some point though. Honestly, if I come back to it, I'll probably start over. I'll probably start over so I can actually pay attention this time. And also, like I said, the actual gameplay is incredible. Unbelievably good. The ship tutorial section sets a great precedent for organic choices and consequences. Yes, it does. Because there's a lot of those. And like you're implying, it is all the consequences seem very organic too. It's not like, there are some weird twists and things that you couldn't really have anticipated that this would be the consequence of that action, but in retrospect, no, it makes perfect sense. And usually the ones that can't be easily anticipated, the consequences that can't be easily anticipated, are the way that they are because of another character's actions, which would themselves obviously have been unpredictable, or at least relatively unpredictable. Where is this? I'm trying to find this last little collectible. Soldier's Left. There's one of those pits where we burned all those corpses so they wouldn't get up and get angry at us. As far as tutorial goes, it's also important to realize this. It's easy to lose track of this. That Fort Joy, the first main area, the island you find yourself on, is basically still a tutorial area. But it takes up the first, probably third of or maybe quarter of the game. It is a very lengthy tutorial. Because the game just sort of very slowly unspools its mechanics for you. The mechanics are not dropped on you all at once. Like, here you go. Here's everything about the game. It's kind of revealed bit by bit. Oh, here we go. Cool. Sergeant Merceau. Where is he? Over there. Okay. Honestly, it's a bit like Red Dead Redemption 2 like that. Every time I play Red Dead Redemption 2, I keep having to remember that there are major mechanics of the gameplay that don't unlock until after Valentine. Which is a weird thing to think of.
Our fallen men out there. I've brought back the personal effects of your fallen soldiers.
This will mean much to loved ones left behind. I cannot thank you enough.
Okay. All right. That's everything here, right? Cool. We only got about 10 minutes left, so I think what we'll do is head back to Skyhold. We should probably talk to Liliana again, see if she has more to say. We should talk to Turnbull. Yeah, he's resolving his issues. And we should do a few WarTable things. So those are our right now goals. Let's do those pretty quick. Then we'll wrap for the night.
Need wheels for the training dummies. Moving targets.
Good idea.
Once we were...
Aw, man. That might be my favorite
You
tavern
wanted
song.
to see me?
Ooh. Okay, really?
Yeah, my soul's dust. Yours is scattered all over the ground, though, so... Sorry, boss. I thought I might need backup. Guess I'm not even worth sending professionals for.
What? First of all, he threw an axe through someone's breastplate. That shouldn't be possible.
You knew the assassins were coming?
Little change in the guard rotation tipped me off.
Why didn't you tell me ahead of time?
You go through years of Ben Hasrath training to hide facial expressions when I wasn't looking? See? Like that. If I'd warned you were the guards, the assassins would have been tipped off.
Are you all right?
Fine.
Fine. Hurt myself worse than this fooling around in bed.
What if they used poison?
Oh, they definitely used poison. Sarcomec, liquid form. If I hadn't been dosing myself with the antidote, I'd be going crazy and puking my guts up right now. As it is, it stings like shit, but that's about it.
Are you interested in getting some payback?
Against who? The entire Ben Hasrath? Besides, this wasn't serious. Sending 2 guys with blades against me? That's not a hit. That's a formality. Just making it clear that I'm Talva Shoth. Talva fucking Shoth.
Are you going to be all right?
It's a knife wound, boss. I think I'll live. I'm fine. Thanks. Anyway, I'll get this cleaned up and let Red know what happened.
Definitely
Boss,
not what I meant.
Whatever I miss, whatever I regret, this is where I want to be. Whenever you need an ass kicked, the Iron Bull is with you.
Alright. I had a feeling there was an Iron Bull thing. There was something going on. I forgot it that he gets stabbed, but okay. It's fine. It happens. Happens all the time, really. Disturbingly. Oh, gosh. Alright, let's go uppity, 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 up. Well, actually, you know what? While we're here, let's see if there's anything from Solus. I don't think there's more from Liliana right now.
Good afternoon.
If I can later. No, there's nothing new.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Alright, let's check the WarTable before we wrap up for the night. Here. Here. Capitalize on the alliance with Fairbanks. I've been told that the Council of Heralds has reviewed the evidence.
All corners. Congratulations, pledges of loyalty, conversions to Andraste.
Oh, good.
All premature until we deal with Corypheus.
We'll get there. I've been told that the Council of Heralds has reviewed the evidence and now recognizes Évariste Lemarque, known to us until now as Fairbanks, as the sole heir to Lord Giraud Lemarque. All holdings and chattel retained by the Lemarque noble house have now reverted to the ownership of Lord Évariste Lemarque. I smell an opportunity. A rebel helping the helpless, fighting the enemies of the Empire, and all while hiding the secret of his noble blood. It makes a romantic story, and our legions love their romance. Sell Lord Evereast right, and we'll have all the wealthy ladies of Southern Orlais eating out of his hand, and ours. That's a great idea, and Varric can help.
We'll be spread thin until the rest of our forces return from the Arbor Wilds.
Of course.
Oh, geez. Use him as bait? I hate that. No, I hate that. As I understand it, Fairbanks never wanted to acknowledge who he was. If it was you who allowed word of his heritage to be revealed to the Council of Heralds, I say we leave him alone. Let it pertain to his privacy. No, Josephine. This idea is perfect, and we will have Varric write a story, please.
Let us begin.
As predicted, the gentlewomen of Southern Orlais relished the story of the noble rebel, and with Lord Evereast coached to put in a good word for the Inquisition every now and then, donations are rolling in. Josephine. Wonderful. All right, that's all we got time for tonight. Next time, we will be doing this one. This is the Jaws of Hakon DLC. It is the next major story DLC. There's a whole new region to explore, and a whole new quest line to figure our way through, and another dragon to fight. At least one. There might be two. Anyway, new enemies, new quests, new peoples, all kinds of cool new stuff. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. This should probably take the next couple of weeks at the very least, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So that's our next thing, and we'll do that next week. Not now. And that's all we have time for. So, join me again on Monday as we continue playing KOTOR 1. We're getting close enough to the end of that one, probably another 2 weeks. And then, like I said, I've been really thinking about taking one of my Monday streams in between KOTOR 1 and 2 and responding to, critiquing and analyzing a video about KOTOR that I happened across from Noah Caldwell-Gervais. And by happened across, I mean it was insisted upon me by WizKid, one of my fairly regular viewers, although he's busy a lot nowadays. Cool stuff. Anyway, whatever. He's very highly recommended, this guy. I like a lot what he has to say, and I hate a lot of what he has to say, which makes some of the best reaction content. So I might react to it. I might have some of you guys who are in the Discord join me in analyzing and reacting to it as well. And that might make a fantastic Monday night stream at some point soon. So thinking about that, that'll be a thing we probably will do. We're going to continue playing KOTOR 1 until we're done, like I said. We'll continue playing Dragon Age Inquisition until we're done, like I said. And then after that, it looks like our next Thursday game is probably going to be Kingdom Come Deliverance. So that's coming eventually. I also have a couple of, as I mentioned before, a couple of video ideas that I'd like to put together. One of which is that audiobook recording of Hardin Hightown. And another is on a topic, on a philosophical topic that I have talked about somewhat before, and it also ties into how storytelling works and how storytelling can go bad. So look forward to that. Anyway, thank you all one more time for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful evening. See you next time. Good night.